brain slews, slick with ectoplasmic juice.
Ecstatic energy, a fire that fuels our memory.
With genealogy, with spiritual topography.
Questions for your answers, we are data necromancers.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody out in, I want to hire like a voiceover guy to do the intro. Johnny Gilbert to do our MAWPOD intro, because this is me introing it right now.
This is Jeopardy!
Whoa, Teresa made it on. Good morning, Teresa. So I went to production school. I got certified in Ableton Live. I was making electronic music, and yesterday I was listening to synthwave, like goth synthwave, and I'm like, I would kill to have Megan sing on my goth synthwave.
You don't have to kill. I'm right here.
I know, but I sold all my gear. I gotta sell everything I own right now, so it's not gonna happen soon. But
This too shall pass.
We
are going to get new gear. There shall be new gear. How many people are striving in the fire of purification right now?
Yeah, raise your hands. We want to see a show of hands.
How
many people are going
out
through
in the audience? How many people are feeling the fire lick at their bodies? The fire of purification. I wrote this when I was listening to a Ram Dass.
Were you listening to the one that I sent you?
Probably.
Oh, God. Ram Dass is salve for the fucking friction of my soul.
I liked when he mentioned the 5 hindrances of Buddhism. Lust, greed, hatred, ill will, agitation of mind, sloth, torpor, and doubt.
What the hell is torpor?
Torpor, the thing I imagine when I think of the word torpor is like a fly stuck in honey. Or like something that's like physically you're held back or you're like slowed in your progression. Like you can't progress because you're stuck.
Oof.
Sloth and torpor. That one really stuck out.
Torpor is like
Torpor like gets me.
Ooh, I'm stuck.
Some days I just lay.
I'm getting pinged right now. Ruby wanted to go to bed not with me in the bed last night, which I desperately try so hard to establish motherly boundaries, and if that's what she wants, that's what she gets. But you feel sad, Megan. You feel sad. So I sat at her bedside holding her hand as if she, the little death, right?
Oh, God.
And there's lightning suddenly out of nowhere, right? But I'm meditating because you don't get a lot of time to meditate when you're on 2 podcasts, helping 3 YouTube channels, and have your own. And so I'm meditating, and something fucking poked its goddamn head in. It was the thing that blocks me.
Like technologically? Like
in every sense of the word.
The tyrannical nuisance
Torpor.
spirit? Yeah, torpor.
Yeah. Like, it was all I could tell you besides... So when things poke in during meditation, it's like the backside of your third eye. It's not like in your imagination where you're... pretending to be Mickey Mouse and murdering everybody around you, but does everyone else do that? But it's like the underside, so it's a little harder to see, and it was red. And I was like, Lucas, I went out to the kitchen. It's like, Lucas, I have a very serious metaphysical question for you. And he was like, okay. I was like, I just saw what blocks me.
It's crazy that it has a physical presentation.
It looked like hematoma. Hematoma?
Hematoma.
Wait, let me look up
hemoglobin.
Hematoma.
Wait, aren't those actually physically blocks?
Yeah, it looked like that.
Oh, that's a huge bruise.
But like that. Like
Oh,
a sub.
no.
Yeah, bitch.
You should go get a CAT scan.
I want everybody to look. Yeah, maybe I have brain cancer.
No, knock on wood.
Oh, not to hop on the we're all gonna die train, but I need everybody to Google a subdural hematoma and tell me why. I saw that.
Well, I don't know. It also looks like one of those easy buzzers from the Radio Shack commercial. It could be a lot of things. It could be like an M&M, because an M&M up close would look like a hematoma.
Teresa says, confounder, trickster. The trickster shit has been super. I'm like tired of it. It's been years. For example, I've come to Teresa with this before. I remember driving home from Georgetown at 1 a.m. or whatever, and there's nobody on 35. Southbound, not a single soul. There is a trailer, big truck, and it's parked off to the side, and it's got its hazards on. I'm driving by it. No big deal.
In a car or in a motor?
In a car. The semi-truck comes out the moment I go by it. And that to me has always been the trickster energy. Like, it's really noticeable. Lucas has seen it. Like, in the Bronco the other day, the car in front of me is like, stop, go, stop. And then it's like pulling off to the right. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go around whatever's happening here. I go around, it's pulling a left turn into a random driveway. As it was clearly pulling over to the shoulder, and it was just gonna park there.
That makes me think of Constantine. Did we ever finish watching Constantine? No. Because Constantine is, he's a man on a mission. He committed the mortal sin of killing himself or attempting to kill himself, but then, the EMT brought him back. So now he has to go to hell because he killed himself, but he's alive. And he has this special gift of being able to like sniff out demons and banish them to hell. So he's trying to rack up all of these demons sent back to hell so that he can make up for killing himself. So demons just like follow him wherever he goes. So he's like walking down the street and like some guy asks him for a lighter or a match and he smokes. So he goes down to get his lighter and he looks up and there's like bugs on the dude's hand and he's like, oh shit. And then this dude's trench coat comes off and he's just like all these bugs, which is crazy because all the flies and all the bugs this morning, I don't think they're demons, but they might be part of the like spiritual
demons.
But I love Constantine. I'm inspired by it.
So are you making a connection between me and Constantine?
Yeah, always. I feel like if you believed in Christian demons and shit, that you could banish them to hell.
It's funny you say this because there's a really cute little just saw something. There's a really cute, it's called the Glass Casket. It's like a little, I don't know, it's to me where all the members of CKY and him would hang out. It's like velour and...
Oh, it's like a goth bar?
It's a goth bar, and they have haunted items. They've got a museum of haunted items. I thought this would be a fun motorcycle episode, like me and Lucas hop on bikes and go there and like go fuck around. Paranormal... Mm-hmm. They sell all the tools to taxidermy your own shit. I don't know, this is so funny.
Whoa.
It's really cute to me. I'm like, oh, you guys are so cute. And they're having a little demon class that Lucas sent me yesterday. So maybe I should go to this demon class and learn about demons. I don't know if I fully... So in my metaphysical practice, there is no such thing as demons. But obviously you see, like, I'm hip to a lot of Hindu lore. Mm-hmm. So there's
demons in
there's
that
a
lore.
Shit ton of demons. I think maybe the metaphysical practice is more like, it's not all evil and out to get you. It's there's different vibratory essences and what they're doing and what they're after is different than what we assume. It's not like Like, an exorcist isn't gonna fucking do anything, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about the dualistic concepts of good and evil, and how in our sort of Western religious philosophy, whatever, it's like very black and white. It's like angels, demons, like there's a separation, God, the devil, heaven, hell, like everything is one or the other. But in Eastern philosophy and religion, it seems like there's more of a spectrum.
Yes.
And it's like everybody's on this karmic cycle, whether you're a demon, a god, or a person, an ant, a fucking blade of grass. Everybody is like accruing karmic retribution or whatever based on their actions, but also paying for what they've done in
their
the past.
dharma. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's like I want to pay more attention to philosophies that account for the gray area more.
I so desperately want to ditch everything and go over there, because that's what a lot of people did in the 70s, because people were hungry and people were waking up, and India was like, oh, this is cute. Yeah, like we've been doing this just because I feel like there's so much to learn. Now, would I bring all my children, strap them to my head, and find some sort of ADV bike to ride up into the Himalayas and find the person? Yes.
Yeah, Teresa said not while you're preggo, or maybe not while you're preggo.
Oh, I've got. I don't worry about the babe.
But we were just talking about
Demons.
like crazy bugs coming over from Somalia. They got crazy fucking bugs in India.
Dude, nothing scares me.
I know.
Wouldn't you go to India? You'd fucking explode, right?
Absolutely, but I always think about the pollution in the Ganges.
Well, it's really big. India is massive.
I know, but the Ganges is like this holy river where you're supposed to go to do ritual ablutions, but it's so polluted, like physically, like the physical contamination. I don't understand how your spiritual purification can come from the physically contaminated water.
They're not attached to their bodies over there.
But I have
they
to
also
be
die.
to a certain extent because this is what I've got.
Well, can we go and not go into the Ganges River? I don't have to do anything. I just feel like there's something over there that I gotta
Yes, we can
tap
go.
into.
Period.
Do you want to ride a motorcycle over there?
Perhaps.
It'd be the easiest way to get around. For sure.
Perhaps. I mean, Torpor was what we were
Torpor.
envisioning.
Tell me what's your
My experience of Torpor.
with Torpor? Fucking into that word. That word stuck to me like a...
Yeah, it's a sticky word.
Haven't they cleaned it with flesh-eating turtles? Nick, are you making a joke? I feel like everything you say is a fact, and I don't want to fact check it.
Flesh-eating turtles. Don't people be washing themselves up in there? Oh, she didn't want you to take demon classes while pregnant. You might get a demon riding on the fetus.
No.
That ain't gonna happen.
I'll eat it. I'll eat that demon.
My experience with Torpor, I think, is related to like emotional lapses in confidence, because usually I feel pretty self-assured and like ready for whatever challenge may come, but I think post breakup and trying to figure out how to not feel lonely all the time, there's like a great association with Torpor and like that I don't want to get out of bed today. I don't have any bookings. My bookings are so low. I'm not making any money. I don't even feel like cooking for myself. I'm not making any videos. I don't have any videos in it. It's just like, I'll stay in bed and watch Bob's Burgers today. But I have not been feeling that way for the last 4 or 5 days. There's been a lot of moving and shaking. I feel really great now.
At this moment.
Yeah, well, I woke up this morning. I know it's going to be a great day when I wake up and Willow is like right there and I just pet her and she lays down on my arms. I'm like, I can't pet you if you're laying on my arms. And she's just so cute and she makes me really happy. How will you motivate me to shake off my torpor?
Magic toaster is a Roman candle of motivation.
I know, he's been out there on his buzzy bike. making his own vlogs.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to watch those. I've got a project that I need to finish.
That's motivation, my friend.
What else you got going on? What's this?
I wanted to look it up. I studied it when I was in college.
The Rule of Saint Benedict.
Yeah, like Benedictine monks. They had like a certain pamphlet or like
They have a delicious liqueur.
handbook. Well, yeah, they invented it because they were just chilling in the monastery all the time. The Rule of Saint Benedict is like a list of rules to live by for monks. And I wanted to look it up because I used to have a nice little copy of it. And it's just nice to thumb through and be like, oh, that's a good rule to sort of apply to my approach to life too. Because monks are...
homunculus.
They are a homunculus, but they're not driven by the homunculus. They know how to control the homunculus. Or rather, I don't know, some monks are doing self-flagellation. And things like that to punish their bad thoughts. But I just have always been interested in the contemplative life.
Me too. To me, it's the only way.
It sucks that the Christian version of
Everything
contemplative
is
life
diarrhea.
is like, my friend Janet went to Catholic school,
Mhm.
and every time I talk about like nuns, she like gets this terrible like constricted body language and just like, she had such a terrible experience with nuns.
Right.
And how they were so like demeaning and violent and angry and just like totally not in the spirit of Christ. Why is it that so many examples of religion are negative?
Why are there bad cops? It's like there's...
Because the abuse of power is...
Yeah. I forgot to wear one of my favorite shirts. The abuse of power comes as no surprise. It's just those people get attracted to those. You can't doubt me. I'm fucking holy, Megan. And then they ride that righteous wave of power while the actual nuns are hiding.
It'll always baffle me how people can, read about Jesus, but then behave totally the opposite way. I feel like that type of hypocrisy is what really drove me from being Christian, other than not believing in that type of God.
Could you imagine living 80 years and never seeing a woman?
Not even his mom?
Yeah. Did he know he came out of a woman?
You make love just like a woman. Yes, you do. You take just like a woman. That's my Bob Dylan.
It's the Bob Dylan corner, everybody. You're good at it.
And you breathe just like a little girl. Let's see, what's this? Oh, this goes back to my notes from last week about free will. Okay, let's talk about dark truth.
Let's talk about dark truth.
Dark truth. Christianity refers to it as original sin.
AKA wisdom.
What is that dark truth kernel of base, primal, I'll fuck you up, I'll rip you to shreds, like I am an animal inside a human's body? How do we deal with that? The barbarian instinct. Do we need civilization in order to quash our barbarian instinct? Like, because some people don't think atheists can be morally astute. They think that they need like a list of commandments.
A laundry list of shit that they gotta follow.
Somebody posted this, I forget who it was, but it was like, my uncle says, what's stopping you from going out and killing people and stealing and doing all of these terrible things if you don't read the Bible? And they were like, it was Atsuko. She was like, well, I think your uncle should keep reading his Bible. Because if he doesn't, he's going to go out and kill people and steal things and murder and rape and pillage and plunder. It's like, those are not the things that are keeping my animal instincts at bay.
Full Metal Corgi says laws.
No, I don't go out and not kill people because I'm afraid of going to jail.
You don't?
No, that's not what stops me from doing it. Is that what stops you from killing people? Just because you know there's going to be a punishment?
Man, if I grew up and there was no such thing as consequence to my actions, I think
But that's different. I'm talking about, like, there are moral consequences to your actions, but they fall on you. They're not imposed from another source. The reason why I'm not killing people is not because I'm afraid of a cop coming to arrest me. I'm afraid of not being able to live with myself if I have committed
because you have
murder.
because you have a conscience.
Right. So what is our conscience, and why do people who are religious think that without religion they wouldn't have a conscience? What makes me respect life and the sanctity of life, but also the sanctity of other people's ability to choose and do their own thing without having any religious affiliation?
Even though you are a holder of a religion degree.
But yeah. I never chose.
Right.
My religious affiliation is called cafeteria pluralism.
Yeah.
I just take what works for me from each bit.
But you still are holding a tray.
That's an interesting metaphor.
You still feel desire to choose or feel inclined to read, or there is a spark in you that consumes.
So does my association with religious topics somehow give me a better conscience?
How could it not? You could be interested in a million different things, but you choose often, always, spiritual applesauce of the sort.
It's true. But I don't feel like that's what's keeping me from stealing somebody's shovel from their front yard.
Your conscience meter is all the way at the top, I think. You are a very thoughtful, sensitive, empathetic, conscious being, and what you have, a lot of people don't. So it's hard to speculate also what drives people to more quote-unquote criminal behavior.
Yeah, so I guess I'm comparing our dark truth as
Which is
physical
what
beings.
is our primal urge.
It's like how a person would behave if they never lived in a group with other people. Like an animal. Like no respect for other beings, you know? It's like the cruelty of nature in our hearts. Our desire to survive and the ability to do anything to survive, regardless of how it impacts other beings. The dark truth, I wrote down. Okay. I don't know, it just says barbarism. It says, well, this was in regards to like free will. If we like integrated the reality that there is no free will, we would sink into decadence and despondency, and it'd be very dangerous for society, because then our actions would have no direct consequences that we're responsible for. Not to rehash last week, but the dark truth is what's catching my imagination now.
Yes, that sliver of the spectrum of people who feel like their actions don't fall on them because they think that everything is predetermined.
Deterministic, yeah.
That I have such a hard time wrapping my head around that.
That's conflating determinism with fatalism. It's like you don't, just because you can't like make the first choice, I don't know. It's not, I don't believe in a fatalistic existence. I think we do get to interact and make choices and choose our path to an extent. Or do you think your path is already chosen? Or it's laid out and you're just walking
Yeah,
it?
you asked me this last time and I was like, fuck. I mean, I'm such a hands-offer. If you told me that it is, like, Whitney, you have predetermined this path, that's the whole reason you came down here, everything is made up, I'd be like, sick. I don't know what those choices are. So to me, it still gives off this semblance that I am, because my memory has been erased. So I wouldn't care because I still want to find out. It's a mystery to me. Nobody's handing me a map and saying like, oh, in a year, all this stuff is gonna
Yeah, I
happen.
guess that's how they deal with choice in the Matrix. If I go back to like my formative
Let's always go
films.
back to the Matrix.
The Oracle would say, you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made the choice.
Right.
You came here to understand why you made that choice.
See, that fucking resonate. That hits my yes.
Yeah.
Because you can tell me, oh, it's all predetermined. I'm like, okay, I don't know that. So I'm here to fuck around and find out. So
yeah.
Also, who wrote the fucking Matrix? And what was their... It sounds like they did their homework.
There are several different sources. There was like a graphic novel in the 90s, but that was more for the first movie. And then the rest of it was written by the Coens. Lana and
Oh.
I forget the other one's name.
The Coens. I don't know. That'd be kind of fun to look up.
Wait, that's not right.
Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Up.
The King Maitrees.
Full Metal says Wachowskis.
That's right. I was thinking of the different brothers. They're not brothers anymore. They're sisters now. Respect. Yeah, I watched those movies so many times because they are steeped in spirituality
Yes.
and like references to Hindu religion or to Hinduism.
I showed you Duncan's graphic novel that he made where they look like Mormons and you wear VR that shows you Christ getting crucified. Oh. Like he's blending them too and there was supposed to be an episode 2 or it was supposed to be an episodic graphic novel release. It ended up, I don't think it actually ended up happening, but yeah, the marriage of those two rocks my socks off. Gives me a boner, if you will.
a huge
I was trying not to fucking say the B word, but here I am. Because we like flavors, right? We've got tongues that have taste buds. So if you put a technological VR Passion of the Christ, maybe I should link it in the Discord. I thought it was great. Thought it was illustrated well and written well. But if you put a nice
Russell graphic novel.
It was a section in a heavy metal magazine.
Oh.
I think he was working on, I think it's hard obviously to like get the money and the publishing and find the right illustrator and do all that. But
So I wanted to ask you this question. I started reading this book. Who are they?
dude, look at that. These are the roaming dogs. There's this gigantic fucking black.
Whoa.
He's so
that's
big.
Tiger. Does he live
Tiger's
with Tiger?
one, and then there's this.
That looks like a German Shepherd.
It's a huge German Shepherd.
But it's like black and brindle. That's cool.
He will never come up to me, but he's very cute. The great work, the magnum opus. It's all about transcending. Yeah, I feel lately not stuck, torpor, but getting a glimpse of what's blocking me is very interesting, or being stuck in the grind is what's happening.
How does the physical appearance of what's blocking you change your opinions of it?
It gives me
or your
something to
assumptions
chew
about
on, because I just thought like, oh, I'm just dealing with legacy burdens and I'm being patient and whatever. But I do, it's all the years of therapy and meditation. I can feel where I'm stuck, or as Ram Dass says, you can feel where you're clinging.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that, and now that I have different sight to see where the fucking sticky back of the sticker won't come off of the book.
You need some Goo Gone.
I need some Goo Gone, but it's hard to stay motivated to get it off, and I'm like in a big witnessing phase. Like I like to look at it. Maybe, which is why it reared its head or physically showed itself, is really interesting to me, because I'm like, oh, there's a presence? Like it has a manifested presence? Is it saying hello? Do I need to bring it out or do I need to have it over for a cup of tea?
Yeah,
like,
what would happen if you showed it love?
Well, I think I was listening to a Duncan and one of my favorite Buddhist teachers, Sharon Salzberg, who I found out teaches people one-on-one, which I'm like, yo.
Teaches them what?
Meditation. So she was talking about, it was so nice. She was telling a story about a woman who was working with the Dalai Lama, but her mother was mentally off kilter, and
as so many of them are,
and was dangerous to be around. And her kids wanted to go see their grandma, and she felt bad because she was like, we are not seeing her. It's not happening. And she was distraught because she's like, oh, look at me. I'm working with the fucking Dalai Lama, and it's supposed to be all open heart and compassion. And Sharon reminds us a very important thing. There's something called idiot compassion. Idiot compassion is the compassion. We conflate this, I'm a doormat. I'll let all the homeless people in my car. Oh, they stole my car. It's like, no. That's not what we do. That's not the practice. The practice is saying no to things that will hurt you, no to things that don't make sense, putting up boundaries and loving them from afar, which is what the Dalai Lama ended up telling this woman, was like, what are you talking? Don't go near your mother. Don't go near her. Love her from afar. What are you doing? But people are like, you teach this thing, and it's you're strapped because of language, and right. But Ram Dass had, God, who did he have on his puja table? He had Nixon, Trump, and someone else. He would put them on his puja table because he had to practice love and compassion with those that caused suffering, a lot of suffering. And it's one of the hardest things to fucking do. Oh, this person's a psycho. This person murdered my child. This person, you can beat the shit out of them with love, but still have an open place in your heart. So, I forget the real reason why we were talking about that.
You were talking about the witnessing phase that you're in.
Right. And she talks about Duncan usually unloads about what he's going through. And, he's like, I'm a dad of toddlers. I'm frustrated. This isn't part of the practice. And she goes, what are you talking about?
This is it. This is the shit. You're in it.
Why are you trying in meditation and Buddhist practice? You're never trying to rid yourself. She's like, why don't you sit with the frustration? Why are you frustrated? Invite it in. And she works a lot with anger. People have anger issues. Let's look at the anger. We're not trying to dress it up differently, but we are trying to understand it. And one of the phases of understanding is witnessing and looking and inviting it in and being compassionate towards yourself, which is something I really don't think a lot of people do.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up next, is like self-compassion. Because I think that a lot of people struggle with living in their own bodies.
Oh, yeah.
And they're always trying to find something outside of themselves to satiate some desire or make them feel whole, or some kind of journey that they can go on that will be especially like spiritually purifying, or lift them up somewhere. But I'm finding that the more time I spend like loving myself and remembering that I'm a little baby in this crazy world too, and that I have to care for my baby self, and like self-compassion is like the hardest thing, because we're our biggest critics, our own biggest critics.
Oh, and you can never see the wood from the tree. You're right. Busy. We live in the modern world where there's car payments and rent and jobs. There's so many things to deal with constantly that take up so much of your brain space, where you and saying nice things to yourself is like number 420 on the fucking list, because there's a million other things.
But I just wish people could take the time to realize that they're special little bobbing, weaving spheres of light. And they inhabit this arena of stimuli just like everyone else. Like, my first boyfriend, my first love, David, we used to talk about how we're both just like little spheres of spiritual light, we're spectral light, and we're down here inhabiting these meat suits, and there's stimuli everywhere. We have to make decisions based on driving and cars and work and eating food and talking to others. But at our essence, we are just here. We're here for a limited period of time, and we just need to, like, I don't know, love each other and laugh and do whatever we can to, like, help our other little spiritual lights.
I need you to bring that energy to every politician that you despise. It's hard.
I feel like politicians, I don't waste any energy despising politicians because I feel like they're puppets of some other force. And
of greed?
I think that money has broken a lot of people, and it continues to break a lot of people because it's so integral to living in our society, and everybody places so much emphasis on having, you know, nice stuff and, like, looking good and, like, all this bullshit that has nothing to do with, like, being spiritually, you know, apt or capable or respectable. The emphasis is just on what you can see, and that's like 1/420th of what we've got.
Yeah.
Which is why I struggle buying clothes too. Let's go. Give me the chocolate.
Teresa says there's definitely been a world wide negrido. I forgot the
Negredo.
I just looked this up the other day.
Corgi, what was your 2000s nostalgia? Because I too have 2000s nostalgia from middle school.
Negrido, which is in alchemy, it is blackness and purification or decomposition. This is the first step in the pathway to the philosopher's stone. Amen.
World without end. Amen. Surge the drink? Yeah, that was a good drink.
Dude, seeing Blink-182, like, obviously I've been following them since I was like 12 or whatever. Seeing them on stage, they look a little geriatric.
In the car, I just can't wait to pick you up for our very first
Now, don't get me
date.
wrong. You and I are flying straight to Las Vegas when they're on the Las Vegas circuit, and I want to sit eating a ribeye in like some lavish
Box
old
seats.
elderly palace of decadence, and I want a leopard to walk by and I want to pet it. You know, like I do want to go there.
I want the
as an
leopard to
elder.
be managing the stadium, though. I want it to have like a level
It's got a
of
Velcro
supervision.
pad
It's like an
Bellhop
anthropomorphized leopard. Yeah. I don't know. I just have so much fun living in this realm of sensation.
Magic, I need you to say one positive thing about your body.
Let's go.
What did Nick say? That's also the name of the horse from Tex by S.E. Hinton. Teresa says, think about this. Our nation's core driving force is ... consumerism. Or at least it has been since the 50s.
But it's pollution for spirituality.
Yeah, it's a big wedge in between us and what's going on, but I feel like people are tired of it.
I have found that my imagination is so strong that if I just like imagine myself going on a shopping spree and getting like platform shoes and cool pants and like cool hats and stuff, that's enough of a dopamine hit for me to be like, oh cool, now I don't have to do it.
No, Full Metal says we can't function economically. That's true. I mean, I always think about that, like, I think about all the ways the Industrial Revolution, people were starving because farmers and droughts, and like you couldn't have a job and you couldn't have a house and there wasn't any wood to build a house. You know, it was a hard time before, well, and then it, not like it got any easier because mothers were drugging their babies with heroin so that they could go to work all day. Or also, there was another thing too where people would leave their babies outside of restaurants It's like stroller parking. So you just leave all your children outside and while you would go in and
Oh my
eat.
God.
I was like, seeing all of this, which is just a really, really small part of what was actually going on.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it makes sense why we're all like kind of super really fucked up.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of us, especially people who are like procreating actively, sometimes they are still children themselves.
Oh, I know.
And how can you, I said this aloud to myself in my car driving around the other day. I saw some example of a woman just like being unfair, unkind or whatever to like a little kid. And I was like, how the fuck can you be a mother to someone when you are still a child yourself and you need somebody to mother you? How are you supposed to summon up the right chutzpah to take care of a kid?
And that's why there's foster children sleeping on the floors of Austin.
Dude, I almost cried. I drove past I think it's the place where Lucas works sometimes. That St. David's or ER or whatever.
He's worked at all of them at this point.
I drove past and I saw prominently displayed like, this is a safe, like, drop the infant, bring it over to the door. Like, you can leave your babies here if you don't want them. I was just like,
do you want to cry? There's a documentary about a priest in South Korea who built a bread box so there was, I don't remember if it must be hard to get an abortion because I don't know why else this would be happening, but there were dead babies in the street. People would just have their baby run away, and he saw like his third dead baby and was like, okay, I'm done now, I don't want to see this anymore. So he built a bread box in the front of his house that's got like a little heart on it, and you put your warm baby in there, and it's anonymous, and this little song plays.
Ring a bell when it...
No, so you open it, you put your baby in, and then you close it, and this song plays inside.
Oh.
And he gets down no matter what's happening. He says often it's in the middle of the night. He gets down and he prays, and he goes and he gets the baby, and his house is full of children.
Oh my God.
And him and his wife, so he has a son who's mentally and physically disabled, who was older. He was like an adult that he still cares of. And he gets the baby, and they showed him getting the baby, and they pray and they kiss the baby and they feed the baby, and it's just like this house. And the state will come and take most of them and give them up for adoption. They usually only leave him with the ones that have
special needs.
And so he just has all these. And I was like, I remember Lucas.
Wait, you said he's a priest?
Yeah.
How can he afford to take care of them?
With donations. He lives in a very small, it's not really, he figures it out. I'm not exactly sure. I watched this like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Oh. Lucas came home and I'm like, we're building a bread box in the house. Because I was just like, oh my God, I love seeing that. This guy understood the compassion to have for those with special needs, and like just seeing the warming box too, like it's got like a little heat lamp in there, keeps it's just like this really soft and beautiful box versus like you can drop your babies off at hospitals, fire stations, police stations, and there's like no one's gonna do that because you gotta go show your face, or where are you gonna put the child? Just leave it there. You don't want to leave it alone, but like this made it like really yeah, dude, I became a fucking I don't think I could ever drop off some fictional unwanted child at a convent. I think that would be the last place that I'd do it at.
Yeah. Damn. Thankful for people like that.
Yes.
So what is it about that person that they felt called to do these types of things, whereas most people would just walk by?
I think we are born with a motherboard, and one of the circuits on that motherboard is inherent compassion. I think it can get squashed out real quick if that child is raised in a house full of violence or fear. I think it can be my therapist has brought this up, that I don't remember if it was a study in particular, but she believes, babies are all born extremely smart, but it can throttle the development of their IQ if they're in a constant state of fear. That's not always the case, because everybody has a different nervous system, and some people, very, very small number of people thrive, but a majority of them don't. And I've always thought about that. It's like, if you make a baby feel safe the moment it comes out of the womb, what unlimited potential are you giving it?
Yeah, so my next question is, like, talking about that dark truth thing. I am struggling with the idea that compassion would be sort of innate in us, because it seems to me like a nature versus nurture thing. Because, like, what is the baby Alfred experiments? Is this totally twisted thing that they did to an infant, where they blocked him from having any type of human contact to see how it would develop. And
that's so fucked.
It's so fucked. It ruined a whole person's life.
Oh gosh.
But the findings were such that it's absolutely necessary for a child to have contact with some type of nurturing figure in order to develop that part of them.
Yes.
So maybe the dark truth is separation. Like, if you do not have access to people who can show you compassion and show you
chest to lay your head on,
this ultimate loving, forgiving, safe, warm, protective place, you're just gonna be a worm. You're just a worm who reacts to stimuli, and you don't have that humanity.
You've seen that a few times with the girl that was chained to a toilet for 13 years.
I don't know that story.
She, and then the kid that the Jungle Book is based off of, he was another kid that was abandoned and neglected and found. They can't speak. There's no emotion. The one that was chained to a toilet for 13 years, they studied her heavily, because obviously, oh my gosh, this was a kid where the dad would open the door to beat her and then give her a piece of cheese and then close it for just...
What's the point of doing that to someone?
They get off on it. There's some disgusting, wretched, demonic... Yeah, at that point, it's like, did you know you could give them away?
Did you know you could just open the door and let them run out?
But they... there was that big house full of kids that they found. All the kids were being neglected, and finally the two older ones were able... And these people are always surrounded by neighbors, but I guess it's like you wave to your neighbor and your neighbor says, hey, and you don't think that anybody in there is necessarily being...
Oh, God, it's like that movie I watched, Barbarian.
Abused.
I don't even want to get into it. It's twisted.
But they studied her to wondered if how she would develop and grow up. Could they teach manner? Would she function? I don't think
she was 13.
Ended up when they found her. Yes, it's like a really disgusting. It was God. I feel like I have enough psychology credits from all the colleges I've been to fucking have a bachelor's at this point. But that was like one of the things we had to study, and it was just so sickening.
Magic Toaster had a leash on him. Did that change you? I guess you wouldn't know, because it is what you were, is what you had. Oh, Corgi, we don't mean to leave you in a pit of despair. Don't your kids lift you out of it?
Yeah, wait a second. Or was he referring to something that we had mentioned? And
I don't know. Oh, good.
Oh, good. You're not in it. It's just the name of something else.
Despair, actively.
No, I felt like he was referencing something. Anyways, somebody help us climb out. Help!
Give us something.
Help!
Pasta shapes.
We're drowning.
Pasta shapes. What are your favorite pasta shapes? What are the most nipple-like pasta shapes? I told someone that I had just made the best dinner of all time, and then I had
Was
just
it last
eaten
night?
it last night.
That looked so good.
It was really good.
What was it? Shrimp Alfredo?
Yeah, it was basically Alfredo, but I made it like with a Cajun punch, because I put a ton of garlic and scallions and leeks and chili flakes and like a ton of flavor in it. A guest of mine that I taught scampi the other day said that my Caesar dressing and my shrimp scampi, everything was sort of Cajun. And I was like, okay, that's cool. What do you mean by that? She's like, it's very like flavorful. And like you said, it like smacks you in the face.
Okay.
Like, that's Cajun?
No.
But I kind of liked her saying like my food was really flavorful and like smacked her in the face.
So is she saying it's too or like...
I don't know. I was like, every time I teach somebody how to make Caesar dressing, I'm like, so every time I make this dressing, I use less oil and more garlic so that it's like very bossy.
Yes.
And she like tried it. She was like, whoa, it is very bossy. I'm like, yeah, because I want to be alive in like the greatest ways. Like, well, I want to feel something, anything.
Think about, I seriously think that you and I should go on tour preaching the gospel of homemade dressings, because every dressing you've ever been given at any restaurant, any grocery store, anything you can buy fucking sucks limp dick.
Yeah.
It is so, like, I got chicken fingers the other week, and then you're like, oh, ranch, and then you're like, milk? What the fuck is this? There's no fucking flavor. Where are all the herbs? Like, do people even know what ranch is supposed to be, or does everybody just want the blandest, dumbest, like, gravy?
I don't know, because I think that sauce is such a wonderful opportunity. I know Corgi feels this way about his sauce for his dipper that he made the other day. Sauce is such an opportunity to like elevate your food, and I don't like, I'm not fucking around when I make sauce. I want it to hit. You gotta taste as you go. You gotta like season, adjust, taste, season, adjust. Make it perfect. Add some lemon. Add some fucking herbs. Add some
green shug, which is a Mediterranean dressing that stays in your fridge forever. It's just like shit ton of parsley, oil, turmeric, cumin, salt, 2 serrano peppers.
Yes.
Lime juice.
You
fucking could put that on a slab of a rotting carcass, and I'd be like, oh, this is so good.
Because it hits the sweet, the sour, the bitter, the, what's the other one? Salty? Fucking.
I just read that. Got constipation at basic for 11 days. Oh, God, were you just so nervous or just like not drinking enough water?
Yeah,
also,
people are yelling at you from every angle. You probably don't want to poop.
You're like, okay, more push-ups. Yeah. I'll get up. I'm awake. Yeah.
Toaster asked me what's my stand-up comedy story from Friday. I don't know what the story is, mate. It's just like, I went and did my thing. I told him I was born on Thanksgiving, and I made deviled eggs, and I fed people eggs in a bar.
I like, my favorite fucking part where I laughed really hard is where some old guy yelled at you because you were talking about blood in the concrete, like the Egyptians.
I was talking about ancient Rome.
Oh, Rome, and he screams out. He screams out, "That was Egypt!" And you're like,
it was ancient Rome.
But it's just like, that's the classic, I'm on stage, I have a microphone, you must be an idiot sort of thing.
Right. So I have been trying to break my Bob's Burgers hold on me. Because every time I turn on the TV, I'm like, oh, Hulu, Bob's Burgers, just put it on whatever one I'm on. It doesn't matter because I'm going to be doing something else. I just want it in the background. So I'm like trying to be really deliberate ever since I started reading the Cosmic Habit Force.
Ooh,
I'm like, okay, I am going to nip my bad habits in the bud. I don't think Bob's Burgers is a really bad habit. I'm not going to die from it, and it's not hurting anybody.
But it's a stagnancy.
But it is like this comfort that I just go to instead of like furthering my development in some way. So I'm like, okay, what can I watch instead of this? So I started watching Ancient Impossible, which is about like ancient engineering feats that seem impossible by our standards today. And concrete is a huge thing that they talked about because Rome built all the aqueducts. They like transported all these crazy rocks. They made concrete that would set up underwater. They made artificial ports so that they could determine, you know, where the seat of power would be instead of having nature determine. They were like, we're going to make this city really fucking popular because we're going to build a fucking port and everybody's going to be able to come here. So I remember specifically that they used pig's blood in their recipe for concrete that would harden and get stronger as it got older. And so this guy in the audience, we're talking about ancient Rome because deviled eggs, or like boiled seasoned eggs, were invented in ancient Rome. They were fucking with those a long time ago. This was part of my stand-up bit because deviled eggs are so like
near and dear to your heart.
Me,
yeah, they're
like,
delicious.
And so
if you look at your DNA underneath a microscope, it's got yeah.
So I am talking about selling deviled eggs in ancient Rome, like in some port, like in Carthage. I'm like selling deviled eggs in a tunic to Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. And Joaquin Phoenix is like, good eggs. And then I'm like, the contributions of ancient Rome go beyond deviled eggs. It goes to, and I blanked. I was like, what else did ancient Rome do like, that we have nowadays? It's like so many things, I can't think of anything. And then Tyler was like, concrete. I was like, yes, concrete, except we don't put blood in ours. And then this dude was like, that was ancient Egypt. And I was like, that was fucking ancient Rome, and I know that for a fact. So please quiet your boca. You sound stupid. And that was a huge moment for me because I was like, fuck you, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about.
It's so. Even in front of a crowd of 15 people, it's like, there's still the one guy.
Well, it's
always the one guy.
He was being weird to Bree earlier in the night.
Yes, he was a solo loner.
He was doing weird stuff. When Aaron came later, Aaron and I were watching him, like, go up on stage and like take a upside down video of like the drummer, and it was like, what is that guy doing? I don't know, it was weird, but the experience was fun. I'm really glad Ruby was there. I got some laughs. This guy came up to me afterwards and he was like, what's a tonket? What is a tonket? And I was like, what, sir? And he's like, the thing you said you was wearing in ancient Rome. And I was like, oh, a tunic. He's like, yeah, I didn't know what that was, and you were talking about wearing it. And I was like, what is she talking about? And I was like, yes, sir. It's like a dress, sort of. I don't know.
We're here to educate.
It was really fun. Yeah, I'm not writing my stand-up material for, you know, whatever. Aaron was saying the best comedy 9 out of 10 people don't understand.
That's true.
I was like, well, I don't want to like exclude people with my language, but I also want to be true to myself.
Too late. Just fucking accept it. Too late.
But it was really fun. Thanks for asking about that, Toasty.
It did get us out of that fucking abandoned fetus pit of despair that we were in.
No. Well, we were talking about pasta shapes briefly. Do you know what the most nipple-like pasta shape is?
No, please.
I would say orecchietti. The little ear ones. Not nipple-shaped per se.
Is it supposed to be nipple-shaped, or are you
No, it's shaped like an ear.
Are you just bringing up the nipple just to...
Well, because I was talking about the meal I made for myself last night, and I described it to someone as suckling from the great Italian Madonna. And then they were like, oh, what's the most nipple-like pasta? And I was like, oh, orecchietti. Even though they're ears, you could probably sit
Why don't you and I make what we think the nipple of Madonna would look like in pasta form? I feel like it would be a it would be a 20-sided boob. It would be a collection of
at least
of diamond-like teats.
Well, in the book Vagina, Naomi Wolf, she had like a little release party when she first wrote the book, and they made
nipple lasagna.
They made
it's my new password.
They made pasta vulvas. They like made all these cute little like pasta dough vulvas. And then this is the part where Naomi got offended and was kind of upset. The dude who offered to host the party also made like these giant grilled sausages. And he was like, sausages and vulvatini. But he also, I think, did like seafood because of like, he was talking about like the smell of vulvas. And she was like, okay, you don't get it. This is not exactly.
Also, who are you going down on? Like,
Right,
what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
I remember that part from the book though. Did you buy that book yet? Do you want me to buy it for you?
I need it.
Vagina.
Do you think Half Price has it?
Probably. Here,
I know.
I got a
need
fucking
to,
account with this. I'll just take a look.
We've got a few minutes left. I've been not struggling. I've been torping.
Are you a torpor?
I've been torping.
Describe your torpor.
You know this. You also create from the soul,
Yeah.
but we have an ego. And so the ego is... We've talked about this before, but we'll talk about it again. Even as I try to talk about it or think about it, it eludes me and dissipates like steam. How do I describe this? I have been creating from the soul. And I think Dasco brought up, or somebody brought up, like, clearly you have a passion. And whatever is passionate will garner attention or whatever. Let me start from the beginning. I'm a very fractured thinker at the moment.
Because it has force to move forward. It has its own sort of momentum. The momentum of your passion.
Yeah, so I put on a poll on YouTube what I should edit next, because I have like fucking 8 videos of mine that I have to edit. So tell me which one to edit next, because it'll make this a lot easier. And everybody wanted to hear the conversation about burnout,
Yeah.
which I was like, wait, I thought that would be last on everyone's list.
I saw that. I thought that was interesting.
And I've got 100 comments about how I just thought it would be a funny thing to talk about. I have a lot to say. I was thinking it was cathartic, and that was the end of that. But the amount of overwhelming support that came out of it was like, made me like, stopped my hamster wheel a little bit. And when the hamster wheel stops, you like look around and you're like, wait, what's happening? And it's kind of knocked me off my rocker a little bit, because people were like, don't worry, keep going. This will happen. And I'm like, okay. And Lucas is kind of like, yeah, we're sacrificing so much just so you can keep doing this thing and hopefully it pays off. And I'm like, okay. I've realized that I've been functioning nonstop and I've never put words to it. Yeah, it's very strange. Like, I'm getting whacked a little bit from left field, because I didn't anticipate a bunch of people to suddenly comment about support or whatever, but it's made me like stop and look around, which I think is a little bit dangerous, because I don't want to trip on my own shit.
True, but if you look at what we're doing right now, okay, take a second. Look at this computer. Did you or did you not encourage me to purchase this computer in January of last year so that I could pursue my rubbish cook dreams?
I did. It was like dragging you a little bit to the dentist.
Did you or did you not get all these microphones and all this bullshit, this GoPro shit, all this shit in service of your passionate momentum dream?
Yes, and since it was all coming from my soul, it was never identified. I just did it without thought. It was the thing that I had to do.
Oh! Cosmic habit force. It's like the way that trees grow without being bogged down in the state of growing. It's like butterflies flitting from flower to flower. It's just what their natural instinct is. But we get so hung up on, you know, having an ego and having this self that maintains our bodies that we can't get into that fucking zone.
Well, I feel like I've been in the zone, and then people started talking about the zone, and I'm like...
So they pulled you out of it, you're saying?
Yeah, but I don't know... Because now I'm like... The 8 videos I've filmed, are those... Well, wait, are they as meaningful as... I didn't... Here's the thing. I haven't consciously been doing any of this. So they've made me a little bit conscious, and I'm not self-conscious of it, but I'm like ego-conscious of it for the first time.
Interesting.
And so now I'm like, fuck, but I don't want to get caught. But I did get caught because it just kind of like paused shit for a second.
Yeah, it's a huge reflection that you haven't even glimpsed yet. You just took a look. But I mean, they wouldn't want you to get bogged down in trying to recreate that deep, meaningful video.
And I brought that up on the Discord. I said, I'm like, how do I distill the essence? I'm like, no, that's already fucking it up. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's already grasping at some, like, trying to remake this thing that was successful. It's like when I think about how I want my rubbish cook videos to go, I'm like, I can't look at old videos and try and recreate old videos. God damn it. I have to do whatever my natural momentum is leading me towards.
And I think the ego gets in the way.
Definitely.
Because I won't talk about it in great detail, but I started working for a different person, and this person has... Santa Claus has given me documents about analytics and what needs to be done in order for a video to perform better. And I'm like, okay, this seems important. But I like looked at some retention rates of my videos, and you're just like, oh, no. Like, you close it because it'll show you at every second how many people stopped watching. And I feel dualistic, as I always do.
Like someone's shooting daggers into your heart every time somebody stops. I don't look at that shit for mine.
Part of me, this was the first time I did it, because this document was interesting to me. Well, okay. Because what can Whitney take from that? Not how can I meld into this nonsense. But part of me was like, no. I don't care if 4,000 people stopped watching after 7 seconds. I'm not going to let that shoot me up. But there's also part of me that thinks that there's a little bit of power in that. And I say a little, meaning
the power to, like,
play the game,
sort of streamline your efforts. Like, maybe I'm going to fart in a direction. Maybe if I fart in this direction at this time of day, it might capture more attention.
Because when you look at analytics, you're really using a scalpel to peel back a lot of psychology is what's happening.
It's true, but I don't want expectations of how something's going to be received to come to me to the creation process and help me create something.
No.
Anticipating its
But you
reception.
and I, but there's the fun thing that you went on this long fucking tirade about how you pulled it up too. Like you immediately pulled it up on Instagram, this fucking video with this sound, like this really popular, yeah.
Like this dubstep.
It's like this dubstep that drops every 3 seconds. So it's like just enough. But I was like, Megan, I saw this as an opportunity to like, we have you in various stages of you doing something really awesome, and then you get like shooketh by the dubstep. Because to me, it's like there's this anarchist part of me that kind of wants to take what I know and light it on fire a little bit.
Wiggle yourself into the system and then burst out and destroy it from the inside.
And I think I can only do it by taking one thing that will be useful enough to infiltrate, but not all of it, not a document, not a fucking... Oh, I also did this thing where I was like trying to get ideas, but I know that I'm never going to do this ever again. I don't ever need to try to get ideas. It's not a issue I have. And I looked up and I was like, oh my God, everybody has gone to the Barber Vintage Motorcycle Museum. There are 8,959 videos about it. And I was like, there's this fucking recipe that people are making. And it's like, ew. Yeah, I want to go there. But it's like, I don't want to watch a fucking video about it.
Oh, interesting.
There was just like this sudden... you see it all the time with food. Although, Megan, can we please make a steak frite hoagie?
Yes, we will make that hoagie.
I saw a steak frite hoagie that like it ruined my day because Lucas and I were like, where could we go? Well, we could go get a baguette and a ribeye, and then it looked like it had like a cheesy spread.
It was like cheese that they melted, and they did caramelized onions. So it was like bread, maybe a sauce, some type of mayonnaise-based sauce, the steak, caramelized onions, cheese on top, fire that, top it with crispy fried potatoes.
Tiny little potatoes.
And then a bunch of arugula and smash that together. That looked delicious.
Look, I'm rolling the throttle right now. You can't see it. Wait.
My resistance to making something that is familiar and this is how I'm going to capture people's very short attention spans. I have to use dubstep and these sort of like very like food focused
are the
shots.
Same. They're all the same. Joshua Wiseman has sadly gone to that smacking everything on the table.
I know.
Done. And you're like, dude, you were never like that before.
But that's what the people want to see, you know?
I don't. I think maybe it's getting people who don't normally watch food videos to watch food videos. That was my theory.
Well, my resistance to that is also partially because I don't want to make food videos. I want to make fucking goof off bullshit comedy shit that has to do with my passion for food. You know? Like, I'm not giving you fucking recipes. I don't want to give you recipes. I want to give you ideas. I want to support your culinary development, and I don't think that comes from recipes. I think that comes from tasting shit and trying different shit and, you know, getting inspired by shit. It's not like
2 teaspoons of kosher salt. If it's diamond crystal, you're going to need 2 teaspoons plus a quarter teaspoon.
Yeah, it's like when I cook something, well, didn't you... What about... I'm like, no, I'm not fucking putting brown sugar in this. Fuck that. Like, I'm always...
Like using your own intuition. You know?
I know, but I feel like people would pay $500 for your sacred pantry philosophy tome.
And they can. I have a Patreon. Let's fucking go. I gotta pay the bills. Let's go. I put recipes on my Patreon.
I feel a little bit better after talking. Just, I don't want to talk about it a lot, or I don't want to come off like this, but it is a struggle that's happening. And it is curious. And a dear friend of mine is just really, God, when we went to Mojave, I just saw this look on his face, and I was like, what's going on? Are you okay? He just looked like he was about to cry or something. He's like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And I was like, we're in the middle of the Mojave Desert, and it's beautiful, and the food is just flowing, and I'm like, I think you need to go to sleep. I think you need to sleep. I think you need a break. But it's just, it sucks to watch your friend go through it, and then it makes you. But I make $5 per video I put out.
No, but I feel like this is part of. You don't have a bug on you.
Okay, good.
I think this is part of what you always tell me and Aaron about our like cooking class presentation. People want to see your authentic shit.
Yes.
They don't want some contrived, anticipatory, like, oh, I wore a chef's hat because I thought you might respect me more if I wore a chef's hat.
I believe in that so much. I'm selling my car. I'm selling my motorcycle. These are things I can't afford because I'm not going to go get a fucking 9 to 5. I did that and it sucked. It was the worst. So it's like, I can't put on the chef hat of whatever to hopefully, well, I do need to fucking feed my family. It's like, no, sell all the shit. It was an investment. It was fun. But right now it's got to go and I'll see it all later. Like, whatever. Because that's how much I believe in it, too.
Mm-hmm. Authentic self-expression.
Which
Tara, are
is
you
also
doing
just
recipes,
the fucking grind. Dude, she posted some... Ooh, I don't remember the name of them. Did you see them? Hold on.
I totally dig that I have things to use up. What can I make? Kind of jam. That is
Also,
my jam.
I opened up my Discord and there's corn dogs on silver butt plugs. Thank you, resident. That's beautiful. Also, how the fuck do you fit that in your butt?
Oh, are you asking?
It's a rhetorical question. Let's see.
Summit, are you a big fan of Joshua Weissman? I respect the hell out of that dude. I think he's got a team of editors though.
He has 2 editors. He was one of my inspirations back when he was making really thoughtful insights because he worked at Uchiko.
I think he's super talented and funny. I think he's great.
And I think once you get to a certain point, Tara, where did you post those pictures of those baked goods? They weren't kolaches. They were like, shit, they were somewhere else.
Thank you, Toaster. To reflect on the rubbish comedy.
Here they are. Look at these. Houseski?
Ooh.
Look at those. Those look so good.
I fuck with dough. That looks like a big old garlic knot braid.
Houseski.
Oh, is that Nigella seeds or poppy seeds?
That looks delicious.
Did you brush it with an egg wash? Did you brush it with an egg wash? So egg wash is going to get your seeds to stick, but it's also going to encourage browning. You know, the thing that all the Redditors wants to see is like Joshua smacking that meat. And that really grinds my gears.
Why does that grind your gears?
Because that's a dead animal. And I don't think it's very respectful to treat it like that.
Like just him smacking it?
I don't know. I got all these complexes about animals and women who are treated as meat and getting smacked and
shit.
all these different associations that I have.
I can the sexual women.
Yeah, it's like sexualizing a dead carcass,
which has
that
so
you
many
intend
things
to
you could
eat.
you could untangle.
Like, wait, no.
I'll smack you when you're dead, Magic.
It'll be part of our send-off for you. It's like a Viking funeral, but instead of...
It's just a line of
like
people on each side, and they're rolling down a carcass on a conveyor belt.
He wanted us to smack his cheeks. His upstairs cheeks and his downstairs cheeks.
Yeah, the first pass will be your face, and then the second pass will be your butt. Houseski braided rolls, half with poppy seeds, half with caraway seeds, and salt, no egg wash, made traditional brushed with water.
Check.
Check.
Check, 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 I got my melody. What?
What? All right, guys, thanks for joining our fucking...
I need to go get some fucking braided bread right now.
That sounds... Oh, dude, I went to, what's that Vietnamese bakery that you showed me to?
Du jour? Tous les jours.
Fucking love that place.
Aaron, we are going to make. Aaron, where are you? Aaron, listen to me. We are going to make those mochi cheese honey pancakes with our backyard honey for our Halloween extravaganza. So if you live out of state, plan on coming to Austin for Halloween because we're having a party. It'll be our 4th annual one. I know it's May something right now. Just remember for October.
Mochi, cream cheese, honey pancakes. They're little tiny mochi pancakes. And then they're filled with just enough cream cheese, and they've got like a brushing of honey on them.
Mochi is so special.
I love mochi.
It's got chewiness, but it's different chewiness from wheat gluten because it's like starchy, gelatinous, stretchy, chewy. Don't even get me started, all right? Come on.
Hey.
I love you, Whitney. Guys,
I love you, Megan.
We're going to have a birthday celebration for this one.
Are we?
Between now and our next pod, most likely.
Our next pod is the day after my birthday.
So if you want to send her anything for her birthday, get in contact with me, or you can Venmo her.
Can you guys send me your hematoma pics? That's what I want.
She doesn't want that. But stay up. Love thyself. Know thyself. Love thyself. Look at other people
Fart
as if
on
they are
yourself.
little babies who need your love. But don't be a doormat.
Don't be a doormat. Banish idiot compassion.